Depending on who's doing the reading of the phrase, what Bruce Lee taught us, it's possible to come up with myriad interpretations. So today we'll take a quick look at some of the ways that Jeet Kune Do has been interpreted or even misinterpreted, and by whom over the years. Hello everyone, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 97. This is the one about what Bruce Lee taught us. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button, and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. Origin story for today's broadcast title, it comes from a Facebook post where the gentleman was talking about his attempt to unify the Jeet Kune Do lineages, right? And so he said that after sorting through everything in, I guess like in his own mind, he arrived at the conclusion that there are basically two lineages. There's the Jeet Kune Do concepts people, and this is the group that believes that JKD's concepts and philosophies can be used as a guide to self-discovery and self-mastery, I suppose, in the martial arts. And he mentions people like Dan Inosanto and Larry Hartzell. The original Jeet Kune Do is the second lineage, and these are the people who see Jeet Kune Do as a specific fighting method as Bruce Lee taught it. And he says that after you master Jeet Kune Do, you can add or take away to make your own expression, but call your unique expression something different than Jeet Kune Do. And the proponents of this approach, he mentioned people like Ted Wong and Jerry Poteet. And his solution for unification was that we should all start our journey with what Bruce Lee taught us, but we should never stop there. To his credit, he says that he thinks that this is what both groups are trying to achieve. Well, of course, because to use his line of reasoning, if you use the concepts approach of Jeet Kune Do as a guide to self-discovery and self-mastery, or if you use the original approach and you add and you take away to make your own expression after you've mastered Jeet Kune Do, well, isn't that expression part of your process of self-discovery? So really, there is no difference in what the two groups are trying to achieve. Everybody's trying to master themselves through this thing that we call Jeet Kune Do. And that's not surprising because both groups were taught by the same individual. They were taught by the same person. So, of course, there's always the talk, or sometimes there's the talk about how Bruce Lee taught different people differently. But I don't know if, there was a group that met at his house once or twice a week. I don't think that group, everybody was being given a different lesson plan. So I don't know so much about the everybody was taught differently thing. And if we're talking private lessons, then, the major recipients of that, to my understanding, are Ted Wong and Dan Inosanto. Ted Wong perhaps even more so than Dan Inosanto. And my understanding is that in private sessions with Bruce Lee, you may have had the exquisite pleasure of being on the receiving end of whatever it is that he was working on at the time. So, to get back to the idea of unifying the Jeet Kune Do clans. So this is where my OCD brain kicks in and asks people to distinguish and differentiate between the two words that are often used as synonyms, but probably should never be. And that is unite and unify. You hear it on the news sometimes, right, where people talk about the reunification of a family, when what they're really talking about is the reunion of a family. They're talking about family members coming back together, right? The JKD clans will never be unified, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that they can't get along, but they will never be unified because because unified means to be or to become one. The Jeet Kune Do clans are never going to become one single Jeet Kune Do clan. It's not going to happen. Just like we're never going to have like a, they talk about the new world order, but we're never going to have a one world solution. There's never going to be unified nation in New York City. It's always going to be United Nations. People will get together and people will get along because it's important for their own survival to get along, right? So for the JKD clans to unite, that takes some serious soul searching on the part of the clan leaders, especially perhaps even the new clan leaders, because so many of the original first generation people are gone. And so one of the questions that you have to ask yourself is, what did they leave their students with? The first generation people who were gone, what did they leave their students with? Did Ted Wong tell his students that he alone was correct in his approach? Did Jerry Poteet say that? Did Bob Bremer? Did James Lee? Did Larry Hartzell? Do Taki Kimura and or Dan Inosanto presently tell their students that they alone are correct in their approach? I don't think so, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure everyone has their private opinions on everybody else, which they may have shared with like their inner circle students, and why shouldn't they, right? But because everybody's a human being with their likes and their dislikes, the things that make sense to them, the things that do not make sense to them. So, what did Bruce Lee teach us? Depends on who's the us. The first generation students ended up taking things in different approaches. Second generation students follow their first generation instructors and they teach pretty much what they learned from them. And then third generation students, well, what do? They do the same thing that the second generation students did, but they do it as students of the second generation people. So everybody is pushing forward and promoting their interpretation of what it is that Bruce Lee taught us. Now, us, again, literally, if you interpret it literally, then you can only be talking about people who were on a direct receiving end from Bruce Lee. If we interpret it indirectly, then we're talking about what we learn through Bruce Lee or because of Bruce Lee, not directly from Bruce Lee. And even that is subject to interpretation again, right? So in essence, we're all learning something. In essence, we're all trying to take this something that we learn and use it to move ourselves forward, and if you're an instructor, to move your students forward, right? And that's where we're all doing the same thing. And that's where the secret to unity lies. All right? It's been said before. We will continue to say it. All right, that's it for today. Feel free to share, like, comment, ask questions if you want. I'll review everything after posting. Sign up for notifications for when we go live on Facebook, and also for when we post the final edit videos on Facebook and on the YouTube. Subscribe over on the YouTube, please, and hit the notification bell after subscribing so that you'll know when all the new stuff is put up. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. At ilovejeetkundo.com, the Quick Skills Series Volume 1 is available. Coming up on Friday, October 11th, Jeet Kune Dialogues episode with Jeremy Gordon of Triad Jeet Kune. Let me make sure. Jeremy Gordon of Triad Jeet Kune. That'll be Friday, October 11th at 6 p.m. Today's a yellow day. This is one of my favorite. I love this shirt. It's so cool. Makes me look cool. Right? And that's it. I'll see you next time for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.